Hello everybody, welcome to Weekly Tech. In our previous video, we have discussed about array destructuring, and today we'll discuss about object destructuring. Just like array destructuring, in object destructuring, we can easily get or retrieve a key or a property of an object directly into a variable. We'll discuss and we'll touch base each and every possible scenarios and cases that we can do with object destructuring, and also in the end we'll discuss about the production scenarios where you can actually use object destructuring in production. So stay with me for the next couple of minutes and we'll discuss all the aspects of object destructuring. So as we discussed in our previous video about array destructuring, we can also destructure an object. Let's take an example of this object, my restaurant. So my restaurant has few properties like name, dishes, category, order function, and time. So let's say if I want to destructure this array, this object, and I want to get the name. So how we can do is in our previous, or the basic way of doing it is we'll check like this. Okay, the restaurant name equal to my restaurant dot name. But it comes with a lot of caveats when you want to get most of the properties out of an array, of an object. When you want to get most of the properties or keys out of an object, and how the object destructuring will be beneficial in case of a function declaration, I'll explain it to you. But before that, let me give you the syntax of how you can destructure an object. So for in that case, you need a curly braces and simply the name of the property that is inside the object and the object name. So JavaScript, when JavaScript sees curly braces on the left hand side of the equal to operator, then it will know, okay, now I want to make a destructure operation, and JavaScript will destructure that object for you. Let me quickly make a console for you, then we'll touch base other scenarios. Cool. Now what if you don't want to use this name, you want some other name, you can change the variable name, you want to change the variable name. So that's how you can do it, in this way. You need to give a column with the variable name that you want to use. Let's say my, or let's say the restaurant name, and you can simply use it. And let's say you want to destructure dishes also. Let's say dishes, and the name that you want to give is hotel dishes, and you can use it. Console.log, and it will work for you. Dishes is an array. Now let's say you don't know whether this dishes will be defined or not in your my restaurant object, and you don't want to make a exit of your application that is running. So you can also provide a default value, just the same way we did in our array destructuring. So how to do that is, first let me just remove it, and to give it a default value, you can simply use the equal to operator with the name also. Let's say tar hotel. So in this case, and I'll simply remove this name so that dish won't be a property of my restaurant. It's clearly seen over there, dishes is there but not dish, so it will go into the default scope. Now the name is there, so for me it will print Great Italiano and an empty array because dish is not defined. Now let's take it to a next level. Now you want to make the variable name change with the default value. Means you want the previous scenario like this. You want to use the name restaurant, you want to use the variable name restaurant name instead of name, and with the default value. So you can simply do it like this. This is the extreme next level. And hotel dishes like this. Yeah, it's possible to use both the default values with the variable name change. See, it's there, it's working. Now the next part that I want to cover is, what if you have a variable defined previously? Let's say you have let restaurant name equal to xyz, let's say xyz, and now let me remove this. Yeah, so now you want to use this variable, you want to override the value. So if you do it like this, restaurant name my restaurant, you will get an error. Why? Because restaurant name is already defined, has already been defined or declared. So how to use or how to overcome this error? In this case, you need to remove this let and cover this whole syntax in a parenthesis. And now the restaurant name will be overwritten for you. Let's take another scenario where you have a variable defined, let's say hotel name, and that hotel name is holding a value name, which is one of the property or the key of my restaurant object. Now you want to destructure it. Now you want to retrieve the value of name property, name key of my restaurant. So how to do in this way? See, it's not always necessary to memorize the syntax, but when you get this kind of requirement, you can come back and see this video again so that you can have an idea how to use that. So hotel name variable is already defined, but you want to use the value of hotel name variable, that is name, to destructure my restaurant array and retrieve the name key from my restaurant. How you can do it is, you can use the destructure syntax. You can use the hotel name variable. As hotel name is already defined, you need to define the replacement variable and you simply will give the restaurant name. Let me console.log it for you. And there you are, you have the hotel name. The same you can do with, let's say, category. You want to retrieve the category. Now the hotel name variable is holding the category value. So what will who will have? Who will have the categories. So now comes the interesting part. Where to utilize it and what's the real production behavior, or where to use it in production. Does that even used in production? Yes, it has been used by a lot of developers and by a lot of framework which are popular in Node.js and in JavaScript front end, to especially in the case of function arguments. Let's say you have a function which requires 10 or 20 arguments, and for function arguments the order is mandatory. So like if the function argument is, the first argument is having first name and the second is having last name, so you can't pass the last name as the first argument, it will gonna mess the whole function. But when you have object destructuring sitting inside your function, those 20 arguments can be handled by one object. Let me show you how. So let us create another function, delivery, order delivery, and this function will hold an object. Let's say for now let's give the name del object, and I'll console.log for you del object, and let me call this function my restaurant dot order delivery, and let me pass some object. Let's say I'll pass my name, address, let's say I'll pass time, let's say 20:30 p.m. and yeah, that's it. So let me just run it for you, and there you are. You have 3 arguments handled by a single argument in a function. Now what you can do is you can immediately destructure it like this. Name, let's say time. The order here is not mandatory, just the name should be exact, like there should not be any spelling mistake. The address should, the ADDRESS should be ADDRESS here. Now let me log it for you. Let's say name, and you'll get the name. And let's say in production you have 20 arguments for a function. Will you pass 20, will you write 20 arguments here and will pass 20? No, this is not the best practice. The best practice is you create an object, and most of the times you have seen this, most of the functions are receiving as an object. For example, and also you can use the default behavior here. Let's say the time. If you won't pass the time, you can use it here. Let's say I won't pass the time from here, and I will log it here. Time. It will capture the default value, and if you have passed the time, let's say 21, it will take 21. When you can use the default value concept, let's say you have created a function and you want to receive the logging arguments. For example, you want the logging levels to be info, debug or error, and if the user hasn't passed anything, let it be info, and if the user has passed debug, take the debug. And let me console.log it for you like this. Hi, name, order received and will be delivered at time. So there you are. And will be reserved in Mumbai, India at this time. So yeah, this is the production behavior and the correct production usage of object destructuring that you can use and make your code more beautiful and less vulnerable. And in the last, the thing which I want to show you is that we have done with array also is destructuring of nested array. So is that possible with objects? Yes. So in this object we have time as a key, and time is itself an object. So if I want to destructure and want to get the open hours and the close hours on Friday in a variable, how to do it? Let me show it to you. Let Fry, let the variable name will be Friday. Okay, the Fry. So Fry will have, not Fry, one second, time. So time will have the whole object, Friday and Monday. Friday and Monday. Now you are interested in the Friday objects. So again, it's not necessary to memorize the syntax. Whenever you want, you can come back and see this video, but to destructure the object you need to do it like this. And yeah, like this. And now you will have the Friday value. Now to get the value of this Fry object, you need to destructure it again. So again, it's not necessary to memorize the syntax. Whenever you want it, you can come back and see this video, but to destructure it, the nested object, you need to do it like this, as colon with braces and fry. And now this fri variable will hold your open and close objects. Now again we need to destructure it. We can do it, and now we are interested in the open and the close variables. Close, and there you are, you have 9 and 10 in the output. Now let's take it to the next extreme level. Let's define and give it a, now let's define a new new variable name. Let's say Monday or Friday open and Friday close, and let's give it a default value. Let's say, isn't that crazy? But yeah, it's possible, and you won't get it anywhere because most of the people will stop till here. But I'll show you how to do it in a nested way. Now the new variable name will be fry open and fry close, and you console.log it will give you the real values. Why? Because the open and close is defined. Now let's say if this fry object is empty, so it will give you the default one. That's all folks with object destructuring. Please like, share and subscribe, and let me know in the comment section if you have some questions and suggestions. Thanks a lot.